How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Never lose sight of the magic of this football team.
Yeah! Here we go!
I'm all in.
How about them Dallas Cowboys? It's been a while. Obviously, we didn't do much pre-draft talk, but here we are on the post-draft reaction here, pending that Dallas doesn't make a trade within the next 5 picks here to get back into the first round. I doubt they will, but maybe they're looking to get into the second round. But Malachi Lawrence and Caleb Downs are a Dallas Cowboy. I think this was a huge night for Dallas. I think Dallas somehow capitalized again on another chance to get their guy. Mike, it's been a while. Just give me your reaction on all of this, let's just spitball here.
One of the first things that we talked about when it got into the draft conversation was we'd love to have a player like Caleb Downs. We'd love to have Caleb Downs. And the more the hype picked up with him, the further up the top of the chart he went, and he was a top 5 pick from pretty much the beginning on, and any hopes of getting him as a player for the Dallas Cowboys, kind of went down the drain. And somehow tonight, nothing went as planned for anybody as far as any drafts that they, had mocked up or even thought of, for us to end up with that very player. I'm super happy about it. Out of all the players we could have gotten, there's very few, if no player I would rather have than Caleb Downs, just because of what he's going to provide to our secondary. It needs a leader. It needs someone who can do everything and be a high-level Swiss Army knife back there, and that's what we got. Just quickly on the other pick, it's kind of like feast and famine to me. I don't know Malachi Lawrence too well as far as what he produces on the football field. So it's like we got a really solid pick. And then for me personally, I'll kick it over to you. I have questions about Lawrence just because I didn't do a lot of study on him. So what do you think of that one? You seemed excited about it.
Yeah, so for Malachi Lawrence, I see kind of like a project guy, right? Dallas got their for sure thing in Caleb Downs, which fell to them, right? And I'll give credit to Dallas. If the rumors are true, I think people were knocking at 11 with Miami to get to that pick to get Caleb Downs because he had fallen so far. And I'm glad Dallas was able to just jump that one pick, give a couple, picks with it and get it, and then get it back by getting it from Philly. Pretty much by dropping 3 positions there. Do we really miss out on anybody? I think the only other guy that I see Dallas that they could have drafted between there was the Miami edge who went right before to the Chargers, Messidor. I could see him potentially have going to Dallas if maybe he wasn't there. But, this guy right here, he's 6'4", 253 pounds. Like you said when we were watching it just now, he kind of reminds you of a Javion Clowney, right? He's kind of built like that. It says here for his analysis, he's a high motor edge rusher with length to get into the blocker's chest, and he plays with active hands to keep offensive linemen locking on him. He's very good fluidly. So it sounds like against the run, Lawrence can stack and at times overpower tight ends. Like obviously you look at his size right here, right? I think this is one of those guys that if you're looking at Christian Parker's 3-4, obviously he's maybe not playing that like outside linebacker position, but you put Quinn Williams in the middle, Kenny Clark on one side, and you put this guy on the other side. I think you got a really good player here for a Christian Parker scheme.
Okay, so let me ask you this: he's ranked 54 overall.
Yeah.
Do you grade him as a first round talent? And the second part of that is, would you say he's on par with Ezeraku or better?
I could see the potential being better than Ezeraku. When it comes to if he was a first round grade, I think I would say he's a late first round grade. I see him more as a day 2 guy, but I guess when Dallas traded back from 20, they knew that
nobody was going to be threatening who they wanted to pick. They already had
and
this
they
guy,
got their other picks back from getting down. Right. You see it as a kind of like an absolute win, so you just go get your guy.
Yeah, and that's what I knew something was cooking when they traded, because I was like, they got to know who these teams in front of them are targeting, and it's clearly not the guy they want. It's not who I expected, that's for sure. I don't dislike the pick. I just wish that I had gotten the same hype that they obviously saw in choosing him. So
I think
go ahead.
all the pressure got off of the front office as soon as Caleb Downs fell and got picked.
Yeah.
I felt no pressure. Like, as a fan, I was like, man, I don't know who we're gonna get, right? All of a sudden, you're seeing the Giants get Arvell Reese, and the Giants come up again. You're like, dude,
You're scared they're going to grab him.
yeah, and this is it. We're gonna end up with like
Yeah.
having to reach here at 12. We're
yeah,
trading back, and
for
all of a
sure.
sudden, Caleb Downs falls. One more, we trade up and get him, and like as a fan,
The whole
I was
draft
like,
is worth
I'm
it.
happy.
Yeah.
the whole draft's worth it now.
It's like, sign me up. Where's the jersey? Give me, I'll pre-order it, whatever you need me to do. I don't care what number it is. Hella excited about this player,
Yeah.
and ready to see. What do you feel about this second round? How do you think Dallas should handle this now that we're kind of going to be hitting a drought here as far as picks go? Let me see what we got left.
Yeah, I think the next pick we have is that third rounder. For day 2, I really think Dallas needs to probably try to target, if they can, maybe try to sneak back in and use that third round pick to get up there. But I mean, we need a linebacker at some point. I still think that's a positional depth that they need to get. Outside of that, maybe with the day 3 picks, I'm looking at, maybe just stacking some depth on the offensive line, stacking some depth with, or you could go best available talent at some point too. But I think we still need to target offensive tackles and linebackers.
Yeah, so it looks like we got 3 first-round picks still, or 3 fifth-round picks. I apologize, and then we've got a round 3 and at least 1 round 4. I'm not sure how much value we can get for trading up. I doubt we can get in the second round with that. But as you mentioned earlier, George Pickens did sign his franchise tag contract today. I don't know if that was done just for stunts or to like maybe get people's attention on potentially calling Dallas for trades or to move up in the draft at all. But it's kind of unique for that to happen. And I suspect that, sometimes as fans, we get upset at the front office because we go into the draft and we've got players on the team that haven't been signed and, there's no resolution. So it creates all this unnecessary drama and speculation all offseason about, players having trouble with the front office is against the players. So for me, I think it's just kind of being smart and damage control and just be like, let's sign him today. So it's not a hot topic during the draft and we can address getting players on the team and not have to field bullshit about what's going on with George Pickens. He's settled. He's going to play under the franchise tag. We'll deal with the contract later on down the road. Let's get players on our team and we'll take everything else as it happens from here on out. That's how I see it. I don't know what your perspective is on that.
So I have the same perspective, right? Like the whole, let's not have any drama. Dallas is always a soap opera 24/7.
Right.
Now, the funny thing about it is right before we hopped on, I did read, and I don't know, as Todd Archer was typing. So Schefter or Ian Rappaport comes out and says, George Pickens is going to sign his franchise tag. Well, it seemed like Todd Archer right after that said, yes, he intends to sign the franchise tag, just don't know when. Like, because people were saying, well, George Pickens may get traded tonight, and that's weird that he's decided to sign it a couple hours before the draft. I think the intention is to sign it. I just don't think, like, and then Todd Archer is saying, like, hey, I think he's planning on signing it, but it may not be tonight. Like, it may be first thing tomorrow morning, if that makes sense. So,
but it serves the same purpose.
No, yes, it does.
Yeah,
I'm just saying for people
hey,
who are all like,
don't even knock on this door.
Yeah.
It's closed, it's locked. I'm not opening it.
Because everyone thought
I'm
that Dallas
sign.
was going to try to jump up to like 3 or something with George Pickens and all that stuff.
It benefits no one for George Pickens to not just stay a Dallas Cowboy. I mean, it's the smartest move for our franchise. It's definitely the smartest move for him, whether he's here long-term or not, at least for the next couple of years, a foreseeable future. It's mutually beneficial. Obviously he's an elite talent and he brings a lot of fire to the offense and we want him here. And I think it's great. So I'm happy to hear that that's his intention. And I hope it turns into a long-term deal, because CeeDee Lamb going into the season, didn't have a contract, for a while. And that created all kinds of issues, and then the Micah Parsons problem, We just don't need that this year, So we've talked about how we feel like Jerry's moving a little bit different. And I think this kind of alludes to that, with the approach we're taking on our personnel and our coaching staff and some of the actions. We didn't really hear much from Jerry. Here recent, at least I haven't seen much about him or heard from him at all. So that tells me that, maybe he's trying to keep out of the soap opera.
The only clip I saw is him stumbling when trying to go shake Bill Clinton's hand.
Yeah, he's getting on up there. He probably just doesn't have the energy like he used to be bumping gums all the damn time. But anyway.
Yeah, to get back to,
Caleb Downs, baby. We got our guy. Super happy. I could have done without the whole 23rd pick, just getting him. You know what I mean? So I love what this is going to do for the defense. I'm falling in love with the idea of what this defense can be when you look at all the pieces and the versatility that our defense is going to bring to the field. It's looking nice, It's looking real nice. And to have a guy who can do what he can do and bring what he brings to the team, man, I mean, this could be a lot of fun, and now we got two really young, looks like talented edges. Linebacker, what's up with that?
What you mean with linebacker? Like,
what do you think? What's up with linebacker? What are we doing? What's the plan? What are our options?
I just assume at this point that we're going to roll with what we got and just roll, Shamar James, Overshown, all those guys. And there could be some day 2, day 3 guys that Dallas decides to pick up. But I think Dallas is I think they're hitting the bigger targets than what maybe that we're thinking. Like, we think linebacker is the big issue, right? But if you can shore up that front seven and that secondary, your linebackers may be your weakest point, but with Christian Parker's scheme, he may be able to hide that, right? Because at this point, when you're running a 3-4, you're really looking at more of just 2 linebackers instead of in a 4-3 where you need that third linebacker, right? So instead of having 3 standard linebackers, now we're really looking at just 2 guys to be on the field and play it. Because guys like Rashawn Gary, Ezeraku are going to be those outside linebackers.
Yeah.
And now guys like Lawrence and all that will be on the inside of Quentin Williams, Kenny Clark. And then to shore up the back end, I think Dallas has done a phenomenal job shoring up that secondary. I mean, we went from which Malik Hooker is still on the team and Donovan Wilson to now Josh
Thompson.
Literally Jalen Thompson and now our guy Caleb Downs tonight. I keep wanting to say Josh Downs. I think I got a buddy who keeps saying Josh Downs, but Caleb Downs is now our guy. And it's unbelievable. I mean, this is actually one of the craziest things. And I think Dallas has they set a mission to reset this defense and set a mission to support this offense in any way possible and to just bring back the offense as it is, right? Check mark, right? Got Pickens back. You're going to be back to where you're at.
Just defensively, bring the defense up to the level,
Yeah, defensively, now they've got some guys who can play. You got Kobe Durant, you got Caleb Downs, you got Jalen Thompson, and now on the front end, you got guys like Rashawn Gary. I mean, yes, we want big names, but they're doing the best they can. I hadn't seen Dallas not try. I will say that. This is probably the first offseason in a couple of years where I've been like, Dallas is really trying.
Yeah, so obviously you're happy with Caleb Downs, as we all are and should be. Are you 100% satisfied with the Lawrence pick, or was there somebody you would have preferred that they gotten?
Man, I was really hoping that they would go linebacker with that 23rd pick. I thought maybe they would go target Allen or Rodriguez or Anthony Hill. I mean, I really thought they would, but they're seeing something in this Lawrence guy with his 4 or 5 second 40-yard dash. And I mean, they're seeing something where
he runs a 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did need an edge rusher. Don't get me wrong. We did need some kind of like depth at the edge, especially if you're not planning on bringing back Clowney or anybody else, right? Like, and I think this guy fills the void. I just hope that, with his size, he lives up to what Christian Park. Obviously, I feel okay. Let me put it this way: Caleb Downs was a overall best talent pick, which you should do if you're in the top 10, top 12, whatever. Lawrence is more of like Christian Parker inside the room saying, "That's the guy I want for my scheme."
Yeah,
that's what I get out of this. I get Christian Parker being like, "That's my guy."
So you obviously see the method behind the madness, and looking at it from your perspective, looking at the team as a whole, and what it could look like. I can see what they're trying to do. They're going to make it very, very difficult for teams are going to struggle to run the ball, period, against our front. But if they do end up, doing some play action or getting a little bit of a passing game going, they're really going to struggle getting the ball down the field, down the field. We're talking explosive plays or 15-plus yard plays. I think that's what they're really trying to limit. They want to just stifle and suffocate teams and make them have to grind all the way down the field and end up having to kick a field goal. I think that's the ultimate goal for a defense. But looking at what we saw from what we have to go off of with Christian Parker and applying it to this personnel group, I can see what they're trying to do. And it does make sense for a guy like Lawrence to be out there, and hopefully he develops. Do you think that Lawrence is a day one starter? Or do you think that Caleb Downs is a day one starter?
Downs, yes.
Right.
Lawrence, no. And
No.
here
Okay.
I found what Todd Archer put for a little ESPN article, a little summary of why they picked him, and then the biggest question for Lawrence, just to maybe give us some insight here.
Sure.
A defense can never have enough pass rush, obviously, right? The Cowboys trade for Rashawn Gary to start the offseason. Now they have Lawrence with the 23rd overall pick. He had 20 sacks in his career at UCF. He was a Big 12 selection in 2025. He's considered to be a high-energy run defender with the ability to chase down plays while also impacting the quarterback. The biggest question for this guy, is he NFL ready? The Cowboys have Gary, Donovan Ezeraku, Sam Williams, and James Houston as their pass rushers with Lawrence. Ezeraku is coming off that hip surgery. Williams, who resigned as a free agent for 1 year, and then Houston had 5.5 sacks. But for Parker, the new DC is active and fits the profile for what he wants to do on the edge.
Right.
So that's what Todd Archer kind of put for the summary to.
Right.
So, I mean, I think Lawrence could be a day one starter depending on how injuries play out and maybe how he looks in training camp.
Yeah, I totally get that. I was just curious from, what if you think that his talent puts him on the field immediately. Or
no, not his college tape.
Okay, so he's going to end up, like you say, it's going to be a little bit of a project. He could take a path similar to, what like Maurice Luafau is kind of going through, where he's called in for specialty packages when he's earned his opportunities. So I tell you what, I love that the kid's 6'5". I'm a huge fan of the way Clowney played for Dallas last year. I loved that pick, pickup. I loved it. I love the way he plays. Right. And he showed up and he gave everything he had every time he was out there. If we can develop this young man to play that style of football, and then you keep developing Ezeraku to be that natural, under move. Edge rusher. And you got somebody who can have the length to run down the line and put pressure on the quarterback with a big body like that. I mean, 4.5, that's big man's moving. That's a refrigerator coming at you, pretty fast, 20 miles an hour. It's no joke. So I like it. It's like a pincer. I love the thought of that. So I'm really excited about this. I'm so happy we got Caleb Downs that, I don't feel bad about any of this so far. I'm a little bit worried about getting some additional depth for the future. But they're going to have to make really smart picks. And I don't mean by, look through the rummage bin and get all the torn knee guys and pick them up with our picks later on. They really need to do what they have to do to get the best value out of what they have left. So if they need to trade a couple of 5th round picks and a 4th round pick to get a 2nd or a 3rd, I think they should do it. Or they need to be negotiating now with other players that may be available out there to give us some of that relief, because we still have questions, right? I still have questions about linebacker. I still have questions about, cornerback. Can Overshown really carry that? No matter what style of defense you play, there's still role assignments for a reason. Linebackers are linebackers. That's a skill set. And you have to have guys who can do that job well, and you can scheme 3-4 edge hybrids all day long. but they're still the middle linebacker position, and somebody has to be able to play it very well. And I know Overshone is capable, but he's going to need some help, and we need somebody else out there who can do that well for him. And it may be already on the team. It could be a Luafau. I love Luafau. Shamar James showed some flashes, so it's going to be interesting. But I think those are things we need the team to try to address in the draft if possible, is cornerback and linebacker for sure.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about this, but Philip brings up that the 23rd pick is the Parsons pick, right? But here, I'm going to counter that. We didn't lose because if you think about it, you trade Micah Parsons for Quinn Williams and this guy. Now, we don't know what this guy ended up being yet, but if he ends up being pretty decent, I think at
Kenny
the end
Clark
of the day,
too. We got Kenny Clark too.
Oh, yeah. You also got Kenny Clark. So you take all three of those into account. Do you think we still won the Micah Parsons trade? Or is it still dependent?
Okay. So Micah Parsons, we've gotten Kenny Clark, Williams,
and cap.
And
cap space.
in cap space. And, now we've gotten Caleb Downs and Lawrence. I mean, to me, especially after how the year played out, it's 100% worth it. I think we are going to be a better team over the next 2 years
than we would have been paying them.
Than what Micah Parsons would have been able to do by himself, essentially.
Yeah. And
we wouldn't have no Jalen Thompsons, no Kobe Durant's, no George Pickens, none of that stuff.
And you wouldn't have Caleb Downs because you would have been maybe a game or two better.
Right. So there's a lot of ifs, but I'm over the Parsons thing at this point. It's all news to me. So I appreciate the question, but I think we're better off where we're heading than where we could have been heading.
Yeah, I think you are too, because at least at the end of the day, when you got rid of Parsons, you revealed a lot of holes in your defense, and you kind of revealed the honest truth, right? Because Micah Parsons,
is a very excellent point.
Like he was able to hide a lot with his special ability to be the pass rusher he is, and to be able to bail you out because he can cut off a second or two on a play because he's good at what he does. He is. I'm going to call it how it is. He is good at what he does. But with you revealing all these holes, the front office got honest with themselves. They got rid of the BS this guy used to be a Cowboys coach back in the early 2000s, so we're going to bring him back because, he's a friend of Jerry. And after that, they attacked the free agency. They attacked the re-signing period, and now they're attacking the draft. And I can't wait to see what they do over the next couple of days. They may come back in day 2 and go get a guy they want. Maybe Jacob Rodriguez falls a little bit further. Maybe Anthony Hill falls a little bit further. I mean, we're 3 picks left in the first round, and none of those linebackers have been selected yet. So there's a good chance that they could be there day 2. The Jets just trade for 30, so they're about to have their third first-round pick of the night, and there's obviously somebody they want. So I don't think we lost the trade from an overall perspective. But
no, I mean,
I think as a fan, like you said, if you're looking at like a window of time of 2 years, we're going to win this trade because you revealed a lot more problems. You're fixing it now instead of, just trying to limp through it and then losing the first round again.
Right. You look at our line right now. We've got Quinnen Williams. We've got Otito Ogbanya. We've got Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary. Those aren't no-name guys, and they're not all pros either, but they are all very reputable at what they provide in their role. That's a strong line, and then you've got some sprinkles of DeMarvion Overshone. We've got Azaraku starting to show up a little bit. We know what Deron Bland is. We know what Malik Hooker is. And now we're adding, Caleb and Jalen Thompson and Kobe Durant. Reddy showed out a little bit. PJ Locke is a nice little addition. With the development that could happen with, our previously drafted talent, Azaraku could take a couple steps real quick this year. Shamar James showed some shine, so it's like there's a lot that could happen with what we have on this roster. And if that develops the right way with that staple up front of that strong line that we've put together, I mean, this could turn out to be a really solid defense. And that's all we need. Yeah. We don't need a top 5 defense.
No.
We need a top 18 defense. A
Yeah,
consistent top 18.
that was the issue we talked about all last year. It's not even
Right.
we need the best defense. We just need a defense that can limit teams from matching our 30 points per game. We need a
Right.
defense that holds people to 15 to 20 because we're scoring so much, but our defense is
Right.
giving the same amount, if not more.
We
I
need to
need
be able to
someone-
say,
yeah.
we have to stop them on this drive right now and have the ability to go out and push a little bit extra
Yeah.
and get that done and not be trying our best and still leaking, like a strainer. And that's what it was last year is our defense was playing the best it could play at all times. And it still couldn't stop at a stop sign. So it was like really, really bad.
All right, one last question because I know it's getting late here in the night. The biggest thing about Caleb Downs is the knee issue. Are you concerned about his injury history at all? Are you concerned about what the potential knee issue could be?
Always concerned. We hate injury issues here in Dallas because especially traumatized from last year where our entire secondary was all redlined. We've got injuries on our team currently, but
But how do you not take him there?
I'll try not to be too wordy. We
Yeah.
have probably the best medical staff in sports.
Yeah.
Okay. And I trust what they feel and what they think. And to go and get such a big dynamic player that the fans have really pushed for and have him be a risk, I think is a bad move by Dallas.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they vetted that, and they're okay with what they're seeing and they feel strongly enough about his capacity to fulfill his role that they didn't deem it because he's a safety. A safety is a luxury pick. I mean, it really, really is if you think about it. But he brings something so special that they felt that they needed to get him in the top 15. And they did. So I highly doubt that they're worried about his injury.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think when he fell to like 11 or 12, wherever we were going to take him, but 11 because that's where we took him.
It's crazy.
I think it's crazy. It's worth the risk. If he doesn't work out, I can't be mad.
I was so confused because this was a defensive draft for the top 10.
Yeah. And
it just went offense. As soon as Carnell Tate came off the board, I was like, oh, no. Jeremiah Love, oh, no. And I say, oh, no, because as a Dallas Cowboys fan, I'd already gotten accustomed to the idea that we're going to be looking at the Jermon McCoys and stuff like that. And then you see that some of the players we really know would help our team and that we like as Cowboys could potentially be there. And that's when you start to get nervous because you don't want to be pick 10 and watch your guy at 9 or pick 12 and watch your guy go at 11, especially to the Giants who already got a first round pick. So it was fated. There must have been some phone calls and conversations between our front office and all the other teams. And they knew what everybody was leaning towards. Yeah. Because they knew when to pull the trigger and bump up that spot because he was probably about to get snagged if we didn't move down to 11. Yeah, this is the last thing I'll add. But, in the mock drafts that you and I have looked through and seen and all that in the past couple weeks, we knew Fernando Mendoza was a top 10. We knew Jeremiah Love would probably be top 10. We knew Carnell Tate would be top 10. Here's how we got to where we got to at 11. Jordan Tyson. People were kind of skeptical on that top 10, but not a lot of people had it there. The Utah tackle, Spencer Fano, he fell. And you're like, okay. And then the Giants, you're like, of course, here we go. They're going to get Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs. They're going to call it a day. And they're going to be like, this defense is stacked. Scary. Well, they go get their tackle. They go get Francis. And it surprised me. It surprised me. And that's how we got in the situation we got into because 2 or 3 offensive players going from 8 to 10 is how we got Caleb Downs to fall to 11. Right. And a lot, personally, my mock draft, which I went, only got 2 picks right in the top 15. Right. I had Sonny Styles going at 5. I thought he was going early. I thought Arvell Reese would go and then Carnell Tate would go, 6, but the Browns traded out of it. Yeah. So Out of all the personal mock drafts I did, I only got Caleb Downs to come to the Cowboys one time, and it was
by force.
I steered it that way, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
you got to
I had
play. You
no
got to play
hopes.
God in that situation.
Oh, for sure. I had dreams, but man, the prayers were answered. So, you know, I'm really excited about that. What a great draft for us. I can't wait to see how the rest of this plays out and what the complete team looks like. And we'll get a chance to go in and update our depth chart and, you know, make it match what's accurate. And we'll start getting this thing rolling back again weekly here shortly. It's time to start getting excited. But we'll finish out the rest of this draft first, and we'll do another little touch base on that as well.
Yeah, so essentially just for our fan base and anyone who may be watching, honestly, we took a couple weeks off. We could have probably hopped on once a week and talked about the same thing over and over, but we decided that, hey, we're going to take a couple weeks off. You know, we're kind of new to this whole YouTube thing. And then after the draft, we're going to pick it right back up and kind of get going again and start building up the hype and the momentum into the long dog days of summer, which is where really it's like little mini camps and not really much news, but we can start talking about what to look forward towards. And let last year go. So really excited to kind of be a part of this journey with y'all. And Mike, as always, you know, this is going to be a really fun journey. We just got to start breaking it down, see where we want to go. But outside of that, man, if you're still here, if you could please leave a comment, like, subscribe if you want to be part of the journey. If not, just come back and talk to us. Come back and watch a video.
We love questions.
Exactly.
We like fielding questions and talking about this as much as we can. It's what we do. So we're excited. I'm really excited about this year. And I cannot wait to get my my Caleb Downs jersey. So
yeah,
I'm really
me too.
Forward to that. Yeah. so we'll have to coordinate on that. What days I'm wearing Pickens or Downs or whoever else I'm going to get. There may be more, depending. You know.
Well, I got to get rid of my Trayvon Diggs jersey. So
yeah, that's sad. It's time. I still got a salute to service Parsons jersey tucked away somewhere in the closet that I don't know what to do with.
Yeah, but
I get it.
All right, y'all. Outside of that, we'll see y'all after the draft. Peace.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Never lose sight of the magic of this football team.
Here we go!
I'm all in.